don't want to call back again. This is already our second visit, so.
This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
We have a Trane Voyager today that's given the customer some problems. A little history: about 3 weeks ago, I had another service technician come out here, and the unit was off on a blower failure safety, I believe. And technician went through everything, couldn't find anything wrong. They called back and said it was still giving them a problem. So I just arrived. This is the first time I've been here. And we're gonna go through and just see if we have any alarms. There was no active alarms when I opened up the unit. Let me hit start. So this is what I walked up on. Okay. The human interface is basically telling us that everything's looking fine. On 7/17, today is July 20th, it looks like we had a drain pan overflow. Now, here's the question. Whenever you see alarms or anything like that, you need to make sure that it's actually, the date is set right. So let's go into settings and make sure that the date is set right, because that really tells you everything. So it says today is 7:20 and it says it is 8:03 a.m. So the time is correct, okay? So at this time, it is 77 degrees in the kitchen. And let's go to the alarms. Currently it said overflow for the drain pan. Let's see if it's closed right now. Let's see, that's page 6. Let's go back. Okay. Oh wait, there it is right there. Condensate drain pan is closed. So it looks like the condensate drain pan float switch is messed up, possibly. So let's look into that. What's a good thing though was the last time I had a technician here, he said that, I believe he said he saw a clogged drain pan switch and he saw a blower failure. And he said he couldn't find anything wrong. So let's look into that. So it says that it's actually closed at the moment. I was using that for shade. But all right, let's open this guy up. We're not gonna power down the unit or anything. We wanna see, we wanna catch whatever's happening. It's a fancy smart unit that has all the bells and whistles. Although, you know what, this one's not crazy. I believe this one right here has a variable speed compressor. This one only has a variable speed indoor blower, and essentially it's just a 2-stage blower is all that it is. But all right, so we need to get in here to the drain pan and we need to figure out where this float switch is. Looks like it's right there. It certainly doesn't look like it's tripped at the moment, but we need to dive into it a little bit. So what I want to do is come back over here, and we're going to get in here, and let's go to this condensate drain overflow input. I'm assuming that closed is bad, so we're gonna fiddle with it and see if we can get it to open up, I guess. Let's hope that that's correct. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can't clear this alarm. It's a reset alarm. Reset. Come on, baby. So it's an active alarm. There it goes. Did we just reset it? I just heard it click on me. It's still open. There we go. Unit turned on. So my guess is that the drain pan plugged up and it locked itself out, is my assumption. Because see, it still says open. So my assumption is that, yeah, it locked itself out when that happened. So let's simulate this and let's try to make it lock itself out again. Let's lift up that float switch. Something's clicking in that belt too. I don't like that float switch either way. Okay, so I've got it to where the float is triggered again. And let's see what happens here. Let's see if we get an active closed condensate switch. Interesting, it doesn't say open. And it doesn't say active. Oh, there we go. Drain pan overflow. 814. I reset it again. I was getting confused between the open and closed, but okay. I reset the alarm or the float switch. And we're good. And the unit's starting back up. So we're gonna let this unit start up, and then we're gonna grab some hoses and check that, because it doesn't look like it's a plugged up drain like you can see. But I also don't like that belt. You hear the click? It's like it's getting stuck in the pulley or something. Making an interesting sound. Let's see what the VFD says. It's at 38 hertz right now. Don't see a problem. Okay, we're gonna grab some hoses. We're gonna make sure that drain pan's clear and that the drain line is 100% clear too. The unit's starting back up. It's very interesting that they don't do an auto reset on the float switch. So once it triggers, it's done and it locks the unit out. That's very interesting. But I'll give them credit. That human interface is nice to be able to see the previous error instead of just having a flashing light. We're gonna power this guy down. Well, I'm sitting here wondering if I actually am gonna power it down. No, I'm not. Not yet. I'm gonna let it run for a minute. Put the panels on. As we're doing everything, we're paying attention to what's happening. Second stage kicked in and my blower sped up. I'm gonna put you in there, but it's gonna be loud. See right at the top it says 60 hertz. So the blower sped up. So what I'm gonna do now is just slowly fill up the drain pan with water and see if it drains before I try to blow out the drain. Because again, I wanna prove what's happening. So could it be as simple as that? Looks like it's slowly draining, but not very fast. I'd say that guy is not draining because that thing's about to shut off again. So let's follow this drain and see where it's going. Look at that unicorn. I got a hose bib up here. Yeah, look at that. Barely draining. Just took a tiny bit of water through this trap, and look at this right here. There you go. That's our problem. Plugged up drain. So I'm gonna clear the drain properly, and we're gonna watch this guy drain. Now we're actually flowing through the drain properly, nice and good. Everything's coming out, and it looks like we got a bunch of chunks out of this thing. All these chunks came out of this guy. So yeah, it's good now. I'm too lazy to go get my hand nozzle. I've only got this big one up here. So I went ahead and taped the hose to the trap, closed off the trap. We're gonna turn it on and we're just gonna flush this guy really good. Make sure that everything's cool. Don't wanna call back again. This is already our second visit, so let's go take a look and see what we got coming out over here. Nice, good flow. Give it some love taps in different places to make sure that we're getting all the stuff out of it. I'm just gonna go around and just kind of kick it every once in a while, especially around the 45s, because that's where the clogs are gonna happen in the 90s. So one over here. This is where it's really gonna build up. Okay. Bird crap everywhere up here too. These filters are also pretty dirty. They haven't been changed since 113. They're not horrendous, you can see through them, but we're gonna change them because some of them are pretty plugged. So we'll get those replaced too. We'll probably look at the other units also. What I'm noticing, also I messed up that union down there. The drain, because of that DuraBlock, it doesn't line up, and I ended up stripping it, so I got to run to the hardware store and get a new union. So I'll put that on, but it's back. I'm gonna have it running temporarily to cool down the kitchen. But what I noticed was this thing will trip the condensate, but after so many times it locks it out, because I've watched this thing reset itself a few times, and then now I'm just gonna reset it again and then So yeah, it doesn't just trip right away. It has a few times before it actually clicks it out. Knowing this customer, I just went ahead and pulled all the filters, and I'm clearing all the drains, and I'm gonna probably change the belts. I'm getting in here and checking them all, making sure we have spares, doing all that good stuff. I already got the filters on will call at the local supply house. I gave up with a big total of them. These drains are plugged. So this one right here, all these little chunks of stuff that you're seeing over here, that was stuff I physically pulled out, but I'm watching stuff just pour out over here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it anymore. But yeah, these guys, even though, guys, this is just, even though they look clear and they're dry, doesn't mean they're clean. You know, because in a situation where we get high humidity and it starts condensating like crazy, then that overflow switch is gonna trip. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this drain. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me turn the flash on. That drain is plugged. It's plugged solid, guys. But it doesn't have any water in it, so it's dry. But the stuff that I'm pulling out of there is gonna prevent it from draining. Now this is literally just over the drain hole. That's all the stuff I just pulled out of that. So you gotta be thorough. Don't just assume because the drain pan's empty, the drain line's clear. Hands are all nasty, but look at the stuff coming out. A little bit of PM goes a long way, right? Underneath the hail guards for the kitchen AC is a pretty dirty condenser, and it's greasy. Even though it doesn't look it, it is. It's because I've had to clean this before. They've got an exhaust fan right here. Crappy design, but we've got some of the Viper condenser coil cleaner. This stuff is safe for microchannel, so we'll use this. We'll let it sit on there and soak, and then give it a rinse, get it nice and clean. The trick is to knock all the big stuff off. You know, these guys don't make it easy to get inside and really clean. But as you can see, you can really see through pretty well. We're just trying to get the grease off. So we're gonna knock all the big stuff off from the outside, and then once we do that, we'll put some cleaner on there. And again, the trick with this Viper condenser coil cleaner is let it sit for literally longer than you're comfortable with. It's not gonna etch the coil, it's not gonna eat away at the aluminum. Just let it sit there for about 5 to 10 minutes and then rinse it. So we're starting from the bottom and we're working our way up, okay? And just gonna let it sit on there. I'm on the C as in Charlie setting. We're just gonna let the stuff sit. Let it sit right in there. Start on this one. Nice and good. I ended up doing like 4 coats of cleaner. Stuff this grease is no joke. But anyways, we're good now. We need to get all the water out of the condenser. It'll go off on high head pressure when we turn it on, and it'll make a bubble factory. So I'm gonna use my blower. Blow it through, tap it, and then we'll turn it on. Look at all the bubbles that are coming through. Look at that. So important that you, even no matter how much you rinse it, all the soap and everything gets stuck in this micro channel, so you've got to get it off. See the inside of that, all those bubbles, those are all bubbles on the bottom. They all just came out.
So real quick, recorded August of 2019, I had a video on the same AC, and the opening intro clip was the bubble party coming out of here, and this is why I tap these condensers and try to blow them out. Don't try this at home.
I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but this is what you got to be careful about. It's a bubble party in there. And that's just all the cleaner. You got to be cautious. It's like a damn nightclub in Vegas. That's why if you can blow that stuff out, you should. But, so we're gonna fire this guy up, and we'll probably still get some bubble party action going on in this thing. I get the panel, put it on, and we'll keep an eye on it. All right, I'm back with the filters. The hardware store didn't have a union, so I had to just grab a shark bite fitting, which is fine because this is just a drain line. I normally wouldn't use those, but all I have, I'm up a ways away from my shop, and I really didn't want to go try to find a plumbing supply house, so Lowe's, that's all they had. So I just redid the 90, put a straight fitting, put it on there real quick, so it's good to go, and it's removable with the shark bite. So All right, we're gonna slap these filters in and hopefully wrap it up. My unit is back together, got the stupid hail guards back on. I've heard all stages turn on of every unit. Got new filters, new belts, fixed the drain, and we're back in action.
All right, I said it in the beginning of the video, this was actually a callback. This was our second visit. So the first time that we went out, we couldn't figure out what was going on with the unit. The technician that was there saw the VFD fault and saw the drain pan fault, but didn't catch the plugged up drain line. And it is an easy mistake, because making an assumption that because there was no water in the drain pan, all was good. This is why you really have to, and life happens, mistakes happen, but you really have to think past walking in the door and solving a problem. You really have to know the restaurants that you're working at. You need to ask questions. You need to quiz, dispatchers, whoever's sending you out, to find out history. In this situation, this restaurant hadn't done any sort of preventative maintenances since January. It is July. So, going into that, when you go up to the unit, and just your casual checks, I always look at the filters, look at the belt, and that tells you a lot. If the filters haven't been changed since July, okay, then you see overflow, and then you go, wait a minute. And then you see an empty drain pan, it should be sparking things in your head going, something's not right here, and looking into it further, looking at the big picture, right? So in this situation, we missed a problem, but it wasn't a big deal. What I ended up doing, to be fair to the customer, was I told him, I said, look, the amount of time it took me to clean the unit, change the filters, change the belts, it wasn't my technician's fault that your filters were dirty, your belts were bad, and your drain was plugged up. I said, however, we were here once before and we didn't catch the plugged up drain issue. So what I did was I discounted my travel time to the customer's job site. All the time to make the repairs, change the filters and all that stuff, that was billable time in my eyes. And even the customer understood when I explained it to him. So basically, I gave him a discount of 1 hour of labor, basically traveling back to the job, and then just bill them for the rest of the time, because I always want to be proactive. Now, I certainly could have gone to my customer and just told him the problem and not even addressed the fact that we were there a couple weeks before. This particular customer wouldn't have said a single thing to me, okay? But I have to be able to sleep at night. That's what makes me feel good, to know that I'm not ripping people off, okay? So I'm always upfront and honest with my customer, own up to our mistakes. That way, when I do make a mistake, I hope that they take all those other potential mistakes that I already told them about into consideration. Kind of get where I'm going with that? Integrity, honesty, that's what I'm trying to portray to my customers as the way that we operate. I think I said that right. But anyways, so the problem on this, and I was getting confused on this unit too, okay? Trane, they have let's just say they have a unique way of doing things, okay? So when the float switch was closed, it was saying open on the human interface, and that was what was confusing me. So I was testing it with my meter and it had continuity. It was a closed switch, but then on the human interface, it would say open. And then I don't know if you guys caught it, but I mixed up open and closed a few times. I would be looking at the human interface and I would be saying, oh, it's still closed when it said open. And then I would say, oh, it's still open when it said closed. I don't know what was happening. Dyslexia was taking the best of me or something. I was getting mixed up, but the problem was just the float switch. The float switch on that unit was plugged up. Now, the interesting thing is, and I was reflecting on this when I was done with the job, in the past, we didn't have float switches, okay? We didn't have any of that fancy stuff. We would get a service call of a water leak in the kitchen, and we would go out there and we would see an overflowing drain pan, or we would get a call of a water leak and we'd say, wait, where's the water coming from? And then we would find the plugged up drain. It's interesting, that we have to deal with this float switch thing. On the commercial side, we don't see float switches that often, so it is a little different, okay? I'm not trying to make excuses. My technician did make a mistake, but it's all good. It's not that big of a deal. It's a simple mistake, and we all move on from that stuff, okay? You guys need to understand that everybody makes mistakes. Even I make mistakes, okay? Life happens. We move on from it. We just hope that we learn from it. That's the biggest thing, okay? I think we need to embrace our mistakes because, they are what make us the people that we are, right? I mean, that totally makes sense. So, but again, didn't just stop at the drain issue. I looked at the filters and I said, nah, we need to change those filters. And I went ahead and changed the belts. I went ahead and left spare belts. I changed the filters on all the other units, blew out the drains on all the other units, okay? Of course, I let the customer know what was going on. And I went ahead on the kitchen AC. The other ACs were fine. I rinsed off the condensers, but the kitchen AC, I had to go ahead and use condenser coil cleaner. I can't stress to you guys enough how important it is to use the blower or to tap off the condenser after, because you can rinse that microchannel condenser all day long. It doesn't matter what cleaner you use, you're still going to have bubbles coming out of it, okay? Or even if you don't use cleaner, you're still going to have water. And I've been getting, I keep saying this in streams and different things like that, and people just can't grasp the concept. But on a microchannel, if you have a fully saturated coil, it will go off on high head pressure. I know that's hard to understand. But on a tube and fin condenser, it would be just a wet condenser, but it never sealed itself completely with water, okay? On the microchannels, it literally stops the airflow, and it just won't let that water out, and it'll immediately go off on high head pressure. I've seen it so many times. And all you have to do is clear the water. The water, like it almost creates like a vacuum and gets trapped in the microchannel condenser, okay? So then you add a detergent or a soap into there, right? A cleaner, and then you get the bubble factor, and then you get the crazy bubbles. You know, that's just nuts what can happen there. But anyways, so customer's happy. Everything's back up and operational. And that's it. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, okay? Do me a favor. Consider subscribing to the channel, all right? I've been noticing that the viewers are surpassing the subscribers now. So do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. If you're interested in purchasing any tools, there's a way you guys can support the channel. Go to TrueTechTools.com. Look at their prices. If you like what they offer, if you like their pricing, use my offer code BIGPICTURE to save 8% on your order, and I get a small commission from that. Helps us support the channel. You guys can also, if you're interested, go to my website, HVACRvideos.com, and I have merch available. This video is released on this Sunday coming up. Let's see, it'll be Sunday the 26th of July. I should be getting my new merch order with hats and a lot of the larger size shirts that I've been sold out of for a while. I should be getting that sometime this week, I believe. So hopefully, I have to do a QR inspection or QC, quality control, make sure everything's 100%. I go through every shirt to make sure there's no damage. So I have to go through those, and if I have those all done and get to go through everything, then I'll go ahead and release them. I'm hoping by the end of the week, so those will be up on the website soon, okay? Really, really appreciate you guys, and we will catch you guys on the next one.